Everybody, we are so delighted today to have our intellectual pillar profile. And today we just started the C.S. Lewis series, 5-part series. And I am so thrilled to have Steve Beard with me. He's going to tell us a little bit about the series. So if any of you weren't able to come today, please make sure you get it next week. For sure, but welcome, Steve. Thank you so much for visiting with us for a little bit.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about this series.
So I'm going to spend 5 lectures. We did one this morning, and I'm going to try and introduce some of Lewis's writings in each week. So this morning we looked at his autobiography. We'll look at some of his fiction, some of his nonfiction, how he dealt with suffering and evil. He touched on so many different subjects. The breadth of his writing was amazing. How he looks at imagination and how he argues for the Christian faith. And so each week I'll take a book and talk about it and introduce it, and then at the end of each hour I do a reading from one of his fictional works, his Chronicles of Narnia. We don't do a lot of public reading much anymore, so I think it's kind of a lost art, so I'm going to do that.
Well, and I understand too, with that said, that the staff in your office says that if you're not in your office, that you're probably somewhere off in Narnia.
Yeah, they give me a hard time. I love C.S. Lewis. I grew up with him, and it's been a lifelong joy of mine.
Passion,
so passionate,
for sure.
Yeah.
So tell our viewers where you're at.
Yeah.
You're a pastor in Scottsdale.
I am. I'm the lead pastor at Mountain View Presbyterian Church, and that is in kind of north central Scottsdale. I've been there for about 9 years. And I'm currently teaching a Lewis class for them right now in the evenings. So this is kind of a season where I'm doing this, and it's been a wonderful pastor. It's a wonderful church. So,
absolutely.
yeah.
I shared that we have a family member that got married in that church. It's a gorgeous church, beautiful. We knew the pastor prior to, and so I'm so excited for you. That's a wonderful. And you're from?
I'm from San Diego. San Diego is home.
Go
and
Padres.
Yes. Studied on the East Coast and dabbled back there a little bit, but we out west here is home. So definitely.
And you said your father was a minister?
My father was a minister, yes, and he was the one that introduced me to C.S. Lewis when I was young. He would read the Chronicles of Narnia to me, and then some of my undergraduate study, I took some courses and have continued that, and I've been really blessed and fortunate to help. I helped found the C.S. Lewis Society of Arizona.
Did you?
Believe it or not, and they put out a journal now called Sehnsucht, which is a Lewis journal, a scholarly journal. But there's a few of us in Arizona that are really
driving the movement.
Yes, probably yes.
That's great. So tell our viewers about your family.
My family, I have 3 kids, married for a long time, 27 years, and 3 kids, 2 adult children, 1 who is still in high school, and we have a 9th grader, so we had a little bit of a gap there.
A span, yes.
So we live actually in Cave Creek, and we love it here, and so we're very, very blessed.
I said he's almost a native. He's been here 15 years.
Yes, that's right.
So what does next week look like?
Next week, I'm going to talk. This morning, I talked about Lewis's early life and how formative it was for his Christian faith. And then next week, I'm going to talk about the second half of his life when this confirmed bachelor found love for the very first time, and he got married. Some of you may have seen the movie Shadowlands, and I know it's going to be played here, I think, next week, they said. So you get to know a little bit about that. And then Lewis wrote about suffering in 2 different books, and one of the books is called The Problem of Pain. And in that book, it's a rather clinical view from a theological perspective of why God allows suffering and evil. But then after his wife died of cancer, he wrote in a very personal way about his grief. And the 2 books are vastly different looks at the same problem, but there's the external look, but then when it happens to me, Lewis wrote very, very differently. So we'll look at grief and suffering in Lewis's life and then how he wrote about it next week.
So if any of you missed this week, please, please, please come next week, because this is just an amazing series, and highlighting C.S. Lewis has just been such an inspiration, and it will be to you for sure. So Steve, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Honor to be here. Thank you.
We love having you on campus.
Thank you much. Good.
Thank you.
Okay.